Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Ralph's Automotive. 2013 Silverado, 4-wheel drive. What I'm going to do in this is replace the O-ring in the oil pickup tube. Common problem on this thing. We're going to replace the oil pan gasket only because they're reusable, but I think this one is actually in fact leaking. And we're going to replace this one right here. This little guy is a relief valve, pressure relief valve for the oil. We'll replace that one as well. It's hard for me to see the doors open. Kind of got a little bit of glare, so I can't really see if you see him. But anyway, that's the that's the little fella right there. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I'm going to go through here, tell you what I'm going to do. Okay, let me turn around so I can actually see a little bit better what's going on. So we know that the oil pan is right there. So this drive shaft, 4 bolts. That is 11 millimeter, 7/16. Of course, we're going to drain the oil. The old oil is getting an oil change right along with it. The 2 bottom bolts, right here and right there, they'll come out. This cross member comes out. You see 2 bolts here, 2 bolts here. These flange bolts here will come out, both sides. Then there is these 2 bolts, electrical connection. Again, there is 2 more bolts, and I'm probably yelling into the camera because I got it close. 2 more bolts right there, 1 right there, 1 right there. And that will free this assembly, which looks like it's leaking too, but anyway, that's not what it's here for. That'll free that up. Hopefully we can drop it out and be able to take the pan bolts out. Then there is a wire loom up here that has to be undone. I forget, to be honest, I forget if there's a, yeah, there's a metal bracket from these oil lines right here. There's a 10 millimeter headed bolt up there that has to come loose. But that is the extent of the oil pan, and here I am in the bad spot again. That has to be dropped out. So that's what I'm going to be doing. A lot of times people complain about not being able to see what I'm doing. Now I showed you everything, every place on here that I'm going to be working. I showed you that on camera. So there shouldn't be no question on what it is I'm doing. So without further ado, let's get started on that. Turn this camera around, and it doesn't really matter what we start with. What matters here is what we end up with, right? Well, hopefully that little trick will work. Any other time it would. Now it's giving me a hard time. I'm going to use a power tool in case you're wondering what in the blazes I'm doing. Son of a mother lover. These things are a little bit on the tight side. Power tool won't break that loose. That's why I'm working with this. Move on to a 1/4 inch drive. Like I said, 11 millimeter. Pause the camera up. No need to go any further. I'm going to use my power ratchet. Alright, drive shaft, externally balanced, so don't keep screaming. You don't have to make sure that it goes back in the same place. No, you absolutely do not have to. They're externally balanced. That's just what it is. These things here, if you want to, sometimes just because I can, I'll go ahead and wrap them and pull it back just so it stays out of the way, save a little bit of aggravation hopefully, as they do slide quite an amount. Like I said, don't always do that, but I do sometimes. We'll just pull it out of the way, like so. Now we're not going to interfere with anything. Moving on to these. They're different sizes. If I'm remembering it, may not be. Now 18 millimeter all the way around. So, hold it not very tight either. I don't know, as loose as they are, my little one might actually get that one. Kind of doubt it, but we'll give it a whirl. What's the worst thing can happen, right? Not coming off. Yep, I'm already tired of this. Get the right stuff, make work easier. They make these types of wrenches for a reason. You see what that is? Yeah, on that frame right there, you just cannot get a regular old wrench on it just right. So get you one of these crimp wrenches and that'll work much, much better. I think some kind of almost like a wool wax almost that they got on these frames, and I don't think it does anything. I think it's just there to aggravate the mechanic, make the mechanic have all dirty hands. That's all that's for. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm sure it does something. I just don't know what it does. Generally, these here, wheel, latch onto the wheel, good enough for that, 15. And these are normally, and I'm going to say that loosely, normally pretty easy to get out. That was the wrench. Now we'll switch over to our ratchet. You don't have to lay these off to the side anywhere special. They big headed. You can't mix it up. You can't mix it up with any other bolt. Alright, there's a little bit of boss on that. Again, don't have to worry about where it came from. As long as the surfaces are clean, it doesn't make no difference whatsoever, regardless of what any of you say. Then my parts delivery. Let me pause this up for a minute. All right, so here we go. Where you going? Electrical connector. It's an easy, generally an easy connector to get, but they tend to get a little bit cruddy, and it sometimes makes them hard to get off. But this one here wasn't that bad. You will have to undo there is generally a clip up here, unless it's been broken off. You will have to undo that clip and get the wire out of it. Otherwise, just rip it and that'll be it for that. So we got this one here undone. So leave that hanging loose. Up on top the pumpkin right here, there should be a hose hooked up. Don't just yank it down and let it fall. There is a hose up there. Kind of keep that in mind. We'll go up here. We'll get the 21, I do believe. You will need, if you use the impact, you will need a big impact on that one because you're going to have to run an extension. Anything small is not going to do it. Like, I'm not even for sure that this one here is going to do the trick. That one you'll have to have an extension for. Obviously, you can't reach that without it. Look at it, assess the situation. I'm going to take the one closest to the frame. I'm going to take it out. One stays in for the moment. Right, these are 18s. I think I remember them being 18s. It's been a minute since I've done one of them. Not so fast there, fella. All right. 72401 O-ring that goes on the tube. Oil filter, of course. And this is the gasket OS 30693R. That's a new Fel propane gasket that is aluminum with rubber impregnated. I think they, at some point in time, they finally changed the style because it used to be, when you first started seeing these gaskets, they were made out of rubber, which is not a good thing on these LS engines. I may be wrong, I might be thinking about something else, but I think that's what it was. Anyway, I'm going to pause the camera up because I'm going to have to get my stand, my transmission stand, and get it out here and get it under it. This is obviously not necessarily a must-have, but it does make it nice if you have a hydraulic transmission stand. I mean, not only for doing work on the lift. I mean, I'm talking the floor models. If you're working on jack stands, they work great for this kind of stuff too. A buddy generally works real good too. Oh. I should have already had taken this out of that boss. I kind of forgot about it. I'm gonna have to get a light up there. That jack stand up here is a little bit in the way, the one in the front anyway. I kind of like to always have one of them dudes in the front and the back when I'm doing stuff like this. And go get demonetized. I have to remember to beep that one out. One more clip up here, and one more in the front. Well, that one there has changed a little. You'll kind of have to be careful here not to pull the wire too much. Of course, it could just cut the wire and be done, right? That was a joke, by the way. I don't necessarily remember this one. It may be that every time I've done it before, somebody had already tore them out of there. That is a possibility. So, should be a hose somewhere. Where's my hose at? I know there's a hose. Can't see my hose yet, boys and girls. Right there it is, right here on the side. I think we can stretch it just a little bit more to get to it, but it's off on the other side. Just on the other side, it's on the flat area. Like I said, we can stretch it just a smidge more, and that's about the extent what you can stretch this thing. It will tear the hose after this. Boom, there's that hose. Like I said, I'll show you the hose here in just a minute. Matter of fact, right now I'm going to concentrate not to drop this out in the floor. I don't want to do that. Matter of fact, it'll sit like that perfectly fine. Ain't going to go nowhere, so can you see that? Move that camera. Sorry about that. So it's right here. I thought it was more up on top, but it's right here. And it might have been a revision change too. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Either way, the big point I was trying to make is there is in fact a hose on there that we need to not rip. In case anybody wonders what these hoses are for, that's just a vent line, and basically, you know, you have to have a vent, and the reason they put the hose on there, obviously located up high, so you don't pool water in it. You know, you go in a creek, sun, whatever you do, you know, whatever your pleasure is, you don't want to end up with water in the damn pumpkin. That's not too good, I don't guess. Okay, I'm gonna get my drain and drain the oil. I'm not gonna film that part. I mean, that's crazy. Get that set up, get that done, turn the camera back on. There's a 10 mil bolt got with a, let me orientate. It's right up there. It's right along on that starter cover. I don't think we have to remove it. It's necessary to undo that bolt, however. You can leave that cover dangling. That is fine. We'll have to switch over the ratchet, I think. Of course, if you're blessed enough to have power tools, that is the way to go, obviously. So I'm going to move in front. I'm not going to leave the... Oh, I'm sorry. That was the bolt that holds these lines. I'm sure you've seen me wiggle that. I'm going to move up front, turn the camera off. I'm going to worry about getting the clips undone on that wire loom. I'm not going to film that part. I lied. I will film that part. I literally just now realized it. Up here, right there. I'm sure the camera can see it. I don't got the screen turned that way. 10 millimeter headed bolt, M6. Otherwise, it pulls forward that away, and then that's how it unhooks. Can't believe I didn't remember that. But then on the other hand, it's been a minute since I've done one. So there is a bolt right up here, and it's going to be a booger to get to. I don't think I can get it with power tool. I do not believe so. I didn't think so. So the other bracket, we can undo the bracket for these lines, but I don't think I will. I don't believe I'm going to. I'll grab this off of here real quick. I'm glad I didn't pull on that. When I walked around the front, I seen that peg on there, and then it dawned on me, wait a minute, that's bolted on the other side, and then it slides out. That's what that peg does. It goes into a hole. So I seen that, and I thought, well, now I remember. Now I feel stupid for having told you it just unclips. Well, technically it does unclip, but not without the bolt, without that bolt out of it. I guess the absolute worst part when you're doing it at home, don't have a lift, would be the part where you got to get the front div out of here. I'm gonna leave that camera on. See, that should just, technically that should just pull now, and it did. You see that? Yeah, I think you can still see that. You can see the outline of it anyway. So we'll start to unhook our cooler lines. Like I said, I'm fairly certain the bracket can stay on, but the 10 millimeters out of the side block, they'll have to come out. We'll look for evidence on leakage. To be honest, that's more of a mess than I thought that's going to make. Whoops. But who does this work not making a mess? Got to make a little bit of a mess, make you feel better. Just kidding, guys. Probably wish I would have done that, but it is done, so. Quite frankly, at this point in time, obviously it's just a matter of getting the oil pan bolts out. I don't think I'm gonna film that part for the sake of not having such long videos all the time. Just take the bolts out of the pan. We'll go from there. If I see anything else, if I forgot anything else, I'll let you know. Okay, over here on the other side, actually I missed this one. Like I said, sometimes you just gotta try to remember things. There is a little plastic piece as well that will have to be removed. Now this one will have to remove it. Same thing, it's a 10 mil is what it is. So this one you'll have to get out. One of the bolts you're not going to be able to get onto it with a ratchet if you don't remove the plastic. It's that piece right here, just that bolt hole, this piece right here. Sorry. Get a little bit carried away there. Like I said, it's in the corner, you can't miss it. You can't really get onto one of them bolts if you don't remove it, so pretty self-explanatory stuff. I mean, really not no rocket science. This thing is going to drip, and it's not going to quit dripping, so if you're waiting for it to drip, I wish you all the best luck. You can be sitting there for 2 days and it still drip. These bolts here, you can torque them pretty good later on. Now, these bolts here, they're long. Can't mistake that. You automatically know where they go. And those, you don't need to be torquing up on them. They are an M6. The other ones, however, they are M8 bolts with a smaller head. So they can be torqued pretty good. You don't have to worry about it, what I'm saying. I didn't say rip them. I had one tiny little worry about this one here. My worry on it was that it leaks in the floor. I'm just kidding. I'm making a mess here, so. But my worry was when I pulled the oil drain plug out of it, it had some baked on crud on it. I don't never like to see that. Oh, I did forget one thing. Yep, sure did. I'll address this in just give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. Uno momento, por favor. See that power steering line right there? That needs to come off. We need to loosen that up and move it out of the way. Just the one. The other one can stay. Now, I'm going to pause the camera up real quick. Gentlemen, bad news for the customer. I mean, I'm not claiming I've had thousands of these things apart. I've had my fair share of them apart. Replaced that O-ring, but this right here, that crust, that's by far one of the worst ones I've seen. The pan is full of that crap. Pickup screen is got bits and pieces hanging in it. So I'm not for sure that, I don't know how yeah, you can see that. Those are actually chunks that I just got out of here. So I don't know. I don't know if I can do that any good. No, we don't know about that. I'm probably going to go ahead and pull the splash pan. I'm probably going to pull it and try to look in there. It's pretty crusty. I can tell you that's pretty crusty. I'm going to go ahead and pause that camera up, clean up, and see what I'm going to do here. Okay, we installed the new O-ring, put all the bolts back on, cleaned the pan up, we'll clean this splash guard up, and fixing to put the oil pan back on this vehicle. So I'm not even going to attempt to record this, but carefully put your bolts in the pan. This side, this whole entire passenger side is going to be easier to do with a extension and a socket. Anyway. Sorry, interruption. My puppy won't he won't be quiet. It's a rowdy puppy. He does not know how to be quiet. He whines, although he's not but 5 feet away from me. He whines because he can't lay on my feet right now because I got dirt in the floor and I don't want him laying in it. So anyway, your best bet is to start all these bolts here. On the passenger side, your best bet is to start them with a long extension and a socket. And then of course you got to do the ones in the front. You got to get them put back in. Start from the middle of the pan and go outward when you tighten them up. You'll be fine, I promise. Now we have to get those couple of bolts in here. These are, like I said, a lot of this is easier to do with the with a socket and an extension. Zeus, 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 Zeus. Yeah, listening to that question. Lost a bolt, hit my head, starting to get irritated, so maybe this is a good time to knock off this afternoon. I got this Astro light here that is a 40S SL. You know, the light works marvelous. I have no problem with the light as far as it working. My biggest bitch about this light is it doesn't swivel enough. I like the Harbor Freight ones. I like them much better because they pivot a whole lot more than what these lights here do. That's the only drawback on this light. That as far as I'm concerned anyway, that's the only drawback we got. So, but anyway, so I've got all these bolts started in the pan. I'm going to go ahead and pause that camera back up. Of course, this probably is a lot easier to see on this side right here. So you see I got all of them back in. We got the long ones put back in. Keep that in mind. And of course, we got the seal that goes up there and all that good stuff. Basically, reverse what you undid. I put a little cap on the power steering line so it don't keep leaking. These here, they generally don't leak. They'll drip a little bit, and that's all that they do. Be cautious if you're worried about dirt getting in there. Make 100% sure that nothing gets in that fitting right there. Put another plug on it if you want to. You know, anything that'll keep dirt from getting in there would be a really, really good idea. As you can see, that one right there will just keep on leaking if you don't address it. Go ahead and tighten that up. Anybody is asking about labor time on this? The actual labor time as far as the book is concerned is 3.5 hours. You're not going to make it in 3.5 hours working on jack stands. I highly, highly doubt it. But anyway, the bolts from the middle of the pan outward, make sure that you're up against this pretty good. If you're able to get the side bolts in there, I would do that now. I recommend you to do that, at least start them. Do not tighten them up until it's actually all tightened from the bottom first. I'm trying to find them. They're here somewhere. Yep, they were here somewhere. Anyway, there's one of them. What I'm talking about is these bolts that go. Let's see, can you see me? Can you see me? No, you cannot. The light is in the way now. These bolts right here. If you want to get them started, but do not tighten them up yet. You know, you can start them up. The pan needs to be tightened up first. Then you pull that in, but do make sure that there's no gap here. That's how you break stuff. We don't want to do that. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm going to cut the camera right there. Of course, I'm going to turn the camera back on for the end result. I guess my better judgment, I went ahead and finished it up underneath like I said, well, let's go through that one more time. You got to put your bolts in the sides, oil filter, make sure that you get your oil tube up here, the connection, make sure that you get that made. Put your cross member back in. Of course, you got to put your front div back in. Goes without saying. Don't forget to tighten your bolts up. You don't need anything special but a 15mm wrench for that. Hold on to the wheels and crank down on them. Put your plug back on there. Put the loom back in the clip. If you didn't break it, clip it in back on top. Put your hose back on it. And by the way, yeah, that hose you can actually get through from here. Yeah, I know it's a little bit dark. I don't got a light on it, but anyway, you can get to that hose right there pretty good. So it's not that tight. Anyway, I am gonna flip that screen. I am about ready to put the oil back in it, and that's what I want to do. I'm gonna go ahead and do that now, and we'll start it up and go from there. All right, YouTubers, so a little bit of an update. Trucks put back together, of course. Did it last night, like I said. Actually driven the truck today. Customer told me to just go ahead and drive it, and I did. We've got about 50 something miles on it. It don't matter, whatever it is. You know, took it multiple places today. Like I said, put a little bit of miles on it. The oil pressure never really got below 20. It is running low on oil pressure. No ifs, ands, buts about that. We had, like I said, lots of carbon in the pan and all that good stuff. Really never seen that with these engines that bad. Seen it, of course, not that bad. But anyway, we want to put something aside. We're going to set a rumor aside. So, for those that buy this stuff here like it's going out of style, Lucas, I'm going to put some Lucas oil in it. And the reason we're putting it in there, once and for all, honestly, I don't think it's, and by the way, this is full synthetic, pure synthetic. I don't really think that it's going to do anything for our oil pressure, whatever, but we're fixing to find out. We are certainly fixing to find out what it's going to do. I think I made just a little bit of a mess. I think I drifted a little bit. You know, I hear so many people, oh, I've been doing that for years. Okay. I ain't arguing with it. I don't believe in additives at all. I put 6 quarts in the engine, by the way. Guess that's kind of a good thing to know too. I put 6 quarts in the engine, and the engine oil is actually low. Of course, that's largely due to, this was not just like an oil change. We actually drained a lot more than just an oil change out of it, so it was still low. That's why I can add without having to drain anything out of it. So the Lucas is in there, and I'm fixing to go have a little toot with the truck. We're going to take it for a little bit more ride, and I'll get back with you here in just a minute. Or, well, not just in a minute, but you know what I mean. Okay, so back to the truck and the whole Lucas oil scenario. That was a bust, basically. I didn't see it do anything, so got people out there that say, well, it's good for you know, upping your oil pressure and all that good stuff. A bad oil pump or a bad engine, for that matter. I don't know which one it is. Don't care at this point in time, anyway. Anyway, there you go. I mean, I know going to be a lot of retaliation on those people for those that use the Lucas stuff all the time. They're going to retaliate now. They're going to say, oh, blah blah blah, I've done it for you. Whatever. Didn't do anything here. Sorry for your luck. It is what it is. That's the reason why I don't believe in additives. There you go, guys. I appreciate everybody. Like, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and we'll see you on the next one.